So, as expected, Helvetica loves the bath. So they all get a warm bath when I wake them up. In the sink, they get a warm bath in the chlorinated water. That usually wakes them up, and then they get brought through here for their exploring, and they get some snacks. But I always have some water out for them. Giant African land snails aren't as prone to drying out as our native garden snails. Are you going to be okay there, buddy? You always freak me out when you tip your shell like that. But I find that Gumball, so Gumball's back there enjoying some pumpkin. They're having a pretty good time with that. Wingdings is over here. They've just been chowing down on some mango, and they're now off for an explore. But Helvetica, every time they're out, like literally every time, they will find the bath and get into it. They really, really like it. The other two, so Gumball and Wingdings, don't really seem that bothered. Gumball was checking it out earlier and decided not to get in. But Helvetica, every time, will get in the bath. So I don't know what this is about. They just seem to really like it. So this is also warm water. These are Margies. So that's Archacinata marginata ovum. They're the second largest giant African land snail species, if I recall correctly. They're also really long lived. So these guys can live from 8 to 10 years. So they're a really long lived snail. I don't know how old these guys are. They are a rehome from a previous owner who also rehomed them from the original owner, and we don't actually know how old they are. I don't. This is so cute. What are you doing? You are such a ridiculous creature. Look at you. Look at you. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. You can see the ripple of Helvetica's muscle there. So they are just one big muscle. Their foot is just one big muscle. Hi! Was that fun? Did you like your bath? You're much cleaner now. You had a really dirty face earlier. You making yourself all nice? Look at that. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, so these guys have been rehomed twice. I don't really know a lot about where they came from originally, who had them first. Helvetica, I think, is an adult. They have this kind of dark rolled edge there on their shell. And that's kind of, from what I've read, that's a little bit like the growth plate in humans. So when that kind of caps off like that, to the best of my understanding, that means that they are an adult. Wingdings over here, you can't see because they're facing the other way. They also have that, so I'm pretty confident that Wingdings and Helvetica are adults, which means that this is pretty much as big as these guys are going to get. At least their shell won't grow anymore. Again, I'm no expert with these guys. I have been talking to people on snail discords who are much more expert than I am to make sure I'm getting their care correct. And obviously I've looked up various guides and information on them once we figured out what species they were. There's a lot of different species of giant African land snails, and they do have different requirements. So they have different temperatures that they like and different levels of humidity that they like. These guys like it pretty warm. So kind of 26 to about 28 is what they like. They also like quite high humidity, around kind of 80% to 90%. So, and these guys also bury themselves. So when they go to sleep, they will dig into their substrate. So they have pretty deep dirt. I've made sure they have pretty deep substrate so that they can do that. So yeah, so Helvetica, I'm pretty sure is an adult. Wingdings is definitely an adult. Gumball at the back there is also far away, but when they're closer, they are noticeably smaller than both Helvetica and Wingdings, and they don't appear to have the rolled edge to their shell. So I don't think that Gumball is actually fully adult yet. But beyond that, that's about all I can really tell. Their previous owner that I got them from only had them for sort of less than 5 months. And before that, we just don't know, really. So yeah, so I don't know how old these two are in particular. I can obviously say that Gumball isn't an adult to the best of my knowledge, but these two are. But I don't know how old they are at all. Thankfully, they're a fairly long-lived species, so